Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Cloud Peak.
Hi, hi. I think it's working
Hi.
now.
Yeah. It's good. How you doing, buddy?
All doing well.
Great. So, Robin, it's good to have you on the podcast and quite excited about it. So, let's start with the introduction. First of all, where are you from?
I was born in Germany, but I grew up in Bangalore and in Uti.
Okay, you grew up there.
Yeah.
Okay, and when did you move to India to Bangalore?
In 97?
Okay, so it was like quite early. So, like whole childhood was in India, Bangalore.
Yeah. So
Okay.
studied in
hmm
Bangalore and in Uti.
Okay. And what was your school in Bangalore?
I did my PUC in a place called Christ College. So I did my 11
Mm-hmm.
and 12. And
Yeah.
couple of years, well, like my fifth and sixth standard was in a place called BGS International.
Got it. One of my friend was in Christ College, so
Okay.
yeah, we've got a quite a connection there. And how did all this thing started with photography and how did you get into it?
Well, how it started. Right from a young age, I was always a bit into photography. My dad's a photographer. He teaches photography,
Oh. Hmm.
and so I used to dabble a bit when I was growing up. Used to pick up the camera from time to time.
Hmm.
Then also, my upbringing was more in nature areas, like
Hmm.
in a
Yeah, Uti.
uh,
Yeah.
in Uti. So I used to go down
Hmm.
quite often to a place called Mudumalai, a village called Masnaguri, and I had friends there. I used to do my like every summer or any holiday. I used to work in a place in one of the hotels. Used to do a summer job,
Hmm.
and that was always like next to the forest. So we always got exposed to the outdoors. People who were
Hmm.
interested in the outdoors, who worked in the outdoors, and
Yeah.
then kind of developed skill sets while growing up there. And then about 11 years ago, I decided to do photography professionally. I had a friend of mine, Sandesh Kadur, who was already a documentary filmmaker.
Hmm.
And then I was doing another part of photography, which I didn't quite enjoy, which was weddings. And then
Yeah.
he gig
Uh,
in Bombay. I was
hmm
also in Bombay at the same time. So he said, why don't you join me? For that shoot. And so I just helped out, like carrying bags and just making sure that things were moved from the car to.
hmm
It was a small team. It was just basically him and then myself.
Okay.
So then it kind of stuck, and then for yeah, since it's been 11 years since then.
Okay. I have like a few of my friends are like photographers and they have like some another passion. They want to like shoot some portraits or they want to do something else, but they you can say just to make a living out of it. And especially in India, they have to like obligedly do wedding shoots, and which not one of them likes wedding shoots. So yeah, there's quite a thing there. Okay. And were you always into wildlife photography, or you were like just casual, like just like
No,
clicking pictures from your phone, like all over and like that?
no, when I started off, I wanted to do sports and outdoor photography.
Okay.
And then so I began by um well, I was really trying to find a niche for it, trying to find something that not many people were doing it in the country at that point. But there was
Mm-hmm.
not many outlets. There was no magazines. There was one magazine at that time, but it was difficult to get anything going. I would write to pretty much every organization, every publication, if there was any interest of getting a staff photographer that was
Mm-hmm.
predominantly into the outdoor photography, expedition photography, things like that.
Okay. But
But
back
it
then
was
you
still
had
very much.
Discovery Channel and natgeo. You had that, right? Back then.
No, that so only with when I was working with Sandesh, then I used to be on projects that were either for
Mm-hmm.
National Geographic. Me personally, I'm not involved with National Geographic directly. So just with
Mm-hmm.
projects that I've worked on, that I've
Okay.
edited on documentaries for National Geographic.
Okay.
And then,
Mm-hmm.
of course, other channels later on.
Yeah.
But no, at that time, I was not associated to anybody. I would
Mm-hmm.
write to Red Bull at that point, but I was just starting off to see if anything was happening in the country. But there was not, they were already had staff photographers, and there was not such a big Red Bull presence in the country at that point to look at different like alternative sport coverage. So then I
Mm-hmm.
started cycling. I met a couple of friends of mine who were into a kind of a category called downhill cycling. And so I would then photograph them. I would develop my skills that way and
Mm-hmm.
also participate. I would go for races myself or I would cover the races and uh, kind of hone my skills that way. And
Mm-hmm.
that yeah, didn't go very far because there wasn't, like I said, it was just basically photographs that go into the onto a hard drive and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I did my training in mountaineering in the Nehru
Okay.
Institute of Mountaineering. So I would have like that as my backup just in case like if anybody needed an expedition photographer on a trip, but nobody
Mm-hmm.
wanted a trip. So then I worked for an organization that did trekking tours for a couple of years and but then there was no photography element in that or any
Mm-hmm.
film element. It was very
Mm-hmm.
very niche and people looked at it as like, oh, you have a camera, why don't you do it for free, or here's a
Yeah,
camera, do
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I did a couple of gigs like that where it was
Mm-hmm.
possible just to hone skills and uh, that definitely is part of and parcel of everybody's journey and
Mm-hmm.
but it really took a turn when I decided, like when I met a couple of friends of mine who I knew beforehand, and they were big into wedding photography, and
Mm-hmm.
now they shift. Now, of course, they finished with their wedding photography portfolios. Now they're into ads. It's a company called First December,
Mm-hmm.
and so after that was I realized weddings wasn't for me, and then
Yeah.
I just did like two or three of them, and it was enough to realize that it wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
work out for me. But I was always more interested in the outdoors
And
and
weddings from Bangalore only?
in Bangalore.
Okay. And have you attended any wedding in like North India, like Delhi or like from this place?
Did one in Jaipur and Bombay.
Mm.
Yeah.
And did you find any difference between like weddings in Bangalore and like weddings in Delhi?
No, it's the same. It's the same kind of.
You found the same?
Yeah, in terms, I mean,
Okay.
South Indian weddings, yes, of course, they start a lot earlier
Mm-hmm.
in the
Yeah.
morning. But in terms of what you need to put in terms of
Mm-hmm.
your efforts and the way that you conduct it, it's pretty much the same. It's just
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the
Yeah.
rituals are different, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just your effort, the time that you put in
Yeah.
is this.
You see, living in India, you have developed an Indian accent with the English too. So
I mean,
that's the
like I said,
thing.
I grew up, yes,
Yeah, from 97.
so
And
it kind of sticks with me within India.
is one of your parents Indian?
Yes, my mom, she's from Bombay.
Okay, and your father is from Germany.
My dad's German, yes.
Okay, got it. And after 97, have you ever like lived for like a certain period of time like outside of India too?
No, I've been pretty much since 97, I've been in the country.
Okay, got it,
Yeah.
got it. I see. And you're into wildlife photography. You must have seen the iconic scene from Three Idiots, right? The movie.
Yes.
Yeah. What do
I
you think
mean,
about
it's a
that?
bit hazy. It's been a long time since I filmed that, since I've seen that film. But yeah, I was in
Mm-hmm.
Ladakh before that film was released. I remember
Mm-hmm.
Pangong. So before uh, it became a tourist trap, I remember it being a lot more pristine.
Yeah, yeah.
I spent my fair share in Ladakh
Okay.
filming. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah, so I mean, I do remember it back in like 2009 when it was. I mean, there are
Okay,
friends
so you
of
went to
mine
Ladakh
who,
in 2009.
yes.
I see. And so you spent some time there, like you live there in Ladakh?
So I was working as a trekking. It's like I was working with a company based out of Bangalore as a
Mm-hmm.
trekking and tour guide. So I
Mm-hmm.
was conducting trekking tours in Ladakh,
Mm-hmm.
and then later on I went with the. This was in 2011, where I went with other friends of mine who run a motorbike company. So they
Mm-hmm.
do motorbike tours. So then I did a motorbike tour, helped them with some of the facilitations to like from Shimla to Ladakh
Mm-hmm.
and then back to Shimla.
And what time were you in Ladakh? I mean, were you in like summers or like winters?
In 2009, that was more the summer because the wildlife tourism hadn't really picked up at that point. It was more your summer tourists,
Mm-hmm.
and then the odd winter treks that used to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't as big as what's happening right now.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
think I think after 2015, 2016 is when um,
Yeah, the two
the winter tourism started really
yeah,
picking up
yeah.
in Ladakh,
Mm-hmm.
and since then it's just now snowball. Well,
Yeah, yeah.
it's snowballed into what it's now. Snow leopard tourism has
Mm-hmm.
become extremely big in Ladakh and in Spiti right now.
Yeah, in Spiti, yeah, yeah. And when you did go to Ladakh, what was like the lowest temperature you seen there or like experienced there?
So when I was there, when I was there for a shoot in 2017, it was one of the few dry winters basically. So there was no
Mm-hmm.
snow during the winter,
Yeah.
and so temperatures dropped only to like -15.
Okay.
It didn't go, it generally goes a lot colder,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
colleagues
More
would
colder.
experience the next winter
Mm-hmm.
when they went. When I went to Spiti earlier this year, it was like -20.
Mm-hmm. You see, me and my friend, we went to Ladakh like 2 years back, I think, and we went in January. So we went on like January 16 or something, and like we are from Delhi. We took a flight to Ladakh, so like the big altitude change, first things first, and you got the bit of sickness when you land there, and suddenly like from you can say 5 or 6 degrees or like 10 degrees in Delhi, it was like directly like -20, 25, like that. So, and the thing which you were saying that back then in like 2009 or 10 when you used to go to Ladakh it was like empty and there were like not more people, there were only like native Ladakhis, right? So we experienced like you can say close to like just that because the time we went in there was like no one in Ladakh. You can barely even see a dog in like a kilometer radius. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, Ladakh is good. Ladakh is good. And is there a trek in Ladakh? Like a famous trek which you've done?
The treks that I did was not sorry from Upshi to Tsumuriri. It's a
Okay.
5 day, 6 day trek.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's five passes. Each pass is at about 15,000 feet, 16,000 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the main trek I did. I haven't done the Chada trek. Even now, I think the Chada trek is now they're trying to discourage people from doing it
Why?
because the river is not freezing enough as it's norm should, and there are too many people that go on it. So
Okay.
the
Mm-hmm.
river ice is becoming thinner because of so many people walking on it,
Mm-hmm.
and
Uh,
it's mainly meant for the local space
is this
to
because of that people are walking on it or like global warming or something like that?
both. It is the summers are coming,
Mm-hmm.
so the winters are coming in later. It's getting colder
Mm-hmm.
later, which means that it's getting warmer quicker. Like because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes winter only sets in Feb, March, and then basically in April again it starts getting warm. So it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
stay cold long enough for it to freeze properly.
Okay, I see. And as a wildlife photographer, so and all the things which you have captured, you captured all the things in India or like outside
Oh
too?
no, that's still yeah. My main photography career has been in India.
Okay.
I haven't photographed or filmed anywhere else, but I haven't photographed like I haven't been to every park. I haven't been to a lot of places that I still would like to go, and I definitely haven't photographed a lot of the animals that are there. I've mainly
Mm-hmm.
covered the generic ones, the main
Okay.
hot topics.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, a few odds and then that not too many people see, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah, but it's still long way to go.
Yeah. I mean, let's come to animals. I mean, animals are like a cool topic. So, you say that you filmed all the generic ones. So, out of them, like, which one is the, you can say, your favorite animal, which you shot?
Definitely wild dogs, doles.
Dolls,
Yes.
was that?
So it's also known as the Asiatic wild dog. So
Okay.
it's a pack animal. A lot of people think it looks like a fox, a jackal, kind of
Okay.
something in between. It's a very unique characteristics that they have, very interesting behavior. They are very family orientated. They do a lot of bonding between each other. There's a very interesting hierarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, I've actually seen um, pairs look after an extremely injured doe, like making sure it's fine, making sure it's fed, hunting on it. Normally they're pack animals, but if the numbers are low, then they also hunt individually and bring back food to the injured animal or the
Mm-hmm.
sick pack.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and then we saw the injured one a month later completely. You could still see the scar, you could still see the wound healing, but he was up and about trying to hunt again. So they're
Mm-hmm.
not this what we say a lot of times where it's if it's an injured one or a sick one, they get left behind to die. These ones actually will try to look after the injured ones. They try to comfort them. They try to be together. Very interesting family dynamics. It's
Mm-hmm.
there's an alpha male and an alpha female. It's the entire pack that looks after the pups. It's not just the mom or the dad. They have babysitters. They have sentries, basically the next litter, the teenagers who look after the pups. When the pack goes to
Okay.
hunt, one
Mm-hmm.
will always stay behind to make sure the pups are fine and looked after, so they don't get into any danger. So it's extremely interesting what they get up to.
Mm-hmm. And you must have came across like a lot of like crazy these animal traits you can say, right? I mean, being a photographer. And
Isn't?
I mean, like the trait which I've mentioned now of these
Yeah.
dudes that
Yes.
they're like a pack thing, so they look after each other. So you must have what do you say, came across a lot of traits of these animals, right? So
Yeah, behaviors. Yeah, so that's the main
yeah.
thing that we look into
Mm-hmm.
as photographers and as camera people. We spend a lot of time observing behavior. That's our
Mm-hmm.
main thing. We constantly observe behavior. We constantly see what they get up to, and so we have a lot of time with them. Basically, that's
Mm-hmm.
we sometimes sit with them for hours
Yeah.
to try to film them. But the more we understand the behavior, the more we can predict how they will behave in a situation. Like, okay, this if they behave a certain way, then we know, okay, they're gonna go hunt.
Yeah.
If they
Mm-hmm.
behave a different way, that means okay, they're gonna play now. And then we kind of start being able to predict up to about
Mm-hmm.
60%, 70% gives us better chances to understand what they're gonna be doing.
Was the
That's why
longest you have been in like in one place, like steady in one place to like click a picture?
mm, 10 hours, 12
10
hours,
hours.
10, 12
Uh,
hours.
okay, and like in the same place. And
Yeah, not moved.
oh, not moved. So what
Yeah.
like animal was that?
It's different. So one was a hyena. So I was
Mm-hmm.
staying in a hide. I was overnight in a hide. So then you spend from like eight. It was actually quite a few animals. It was a rusty spotted cat. So you go into the hide at like 6 o'clock at night, and you come back out at like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. So you spend the
Mm-hmm.
whole night in the hide. You have to stay awake. Snow leopards again. You stay in one spot pretty much because you can't walk around too much. So then again, now if
Mm-hmm.
snow leopard sleeps, they sleep. They can sleep the whole day without moving, and you just got to stand there and wait for them
Mm-hmm.
to do anything. So snow leopards, um, tigers, yeah, about 4 to 5 hours with tigers. Generally,
Mm-hmm.
depends on when you catch them in a nap. Sometimes if you catch them at the start of their nap, then you can be there for 5, 6 hours until they get up
Do you
and
have any like safety measures when you're doing this?
so when we're with uh with tigers or something like that, then we're either in a jeep, we're in the national park, so we're in a
Mm-hmm.
vehicle, and uh so that's our safety measures because tigers or most predators do not look at a vehicle as a threat.
Okay.
They just become so used to it. When we're in a hide, not really. We don't have anything. We just basically that's the whole point that we kind of blend in, so we don't have any food with us that can give off a scent that uh,
Mm-hmm.
we try to be extremely quiet, so no movements, no plastic, no rustling, so that they basically blend in and get. So because the whole point is also that we observe natural behavior.
Yeah.
that they're not skittish, that they're just doing their own thing, so that we're
Mm.
completely blending into the environment. Um, but mostly it's just on experience of like
Yeah.
us being aware, us being conscious of our surroundings. But no, we don't carry any weapons or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. So when you're in this hideouts, you're like lying down or like sometimes like behind a rock or something like that, if I'm right.
So a hide is a like a tent that basically looks camouflaged, so that we
Okay.
sit inside, and then it's yeah, it's pretty much you can call it a tent. It's just a little taller, so that when
Okay.
you're sitting, that you're not crouched down. It has windows on either side, so you can open them and put your camera through, and then you can basically see because you're blended in. Then
Mm-hmm.
sometimes on the hide we put branches, so it looks a bit more uh, part and parcel of the environment.
Got it. And from technical point of view, what I'm thinking is, if you're there like 10 hours, like each second you have the possibility to take a shot, right? To take like a good picture, like every second of those 10 hours. So the camera must be running like all those 10 hours, if I'm correct.
Yes.
So how do you manage the batteries and all?
So over the years, we've experienced on how many batteries we require, and so when we're filming, when we've got our film cameras, we have it's called a hot swappable battery system. So then we have two batteries that are stacked on top of on top of each other.
Okay.
So we remove
Mm-hmm.
one, it still runs the camera, and then we just put another one on it, and then we get another hour out of that.
Yeah.
Or we have to require that system if we have like a shoot that is further away where we have to fly to. If it's a local shoot, we have a battery box that we can plug in into the camera, and that'll last us 8, 9 hours. That one
Okay.
battery.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. So the camera never shut down, right?
the camera doesn't shut down. No, they
Mm-hmm. And
we can't afford that
yeah,
minute
yeah,
of
totally.
shutting down camera, changing the
Mm-hmm.
battery. I have definitely, I mean, in the past, I've definitely lost shots where I've been
Yeah.
with the animal for many hours, and just that crucial moment, just that point where you're like, okay, it's either going to get out of the water, it's something's going to happen. The camera shuts down because the battery has died, and then you're
Yeah.
trying to find a new battery. So that I mean, we
Mm-hmm.
definitely have had those frustrating moments where
Yeah.
uh,
No, it's
it's
coming to
it's
that. You're a wildlife photographer. Like, you're in the camp. You're like on the hideout. It's like 9 hours or something. So, what's the most some of the most important shots which you have lost due to any technical error?
ooh, I try not to remember those. I mean, see, the thing is, for us, it's like if we didn't film it, it didn't happen. There's no point
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, going on it. I mean, there's one situation I remember. We were filming Malabar giant squirrels,
Mm-hmm.
and so we had rigged up a tree with the GoPros because the GoPro we could remote trigger.
Mm-hmm.
This is before we like had better wireless systems where you could remote. So it was we would sit with our phone, and so we were waiting for a very specific shot of a squirrel sitting right in front of the camera, and it came, sat exactly the spot that we wanted it to. I hit the
Mm-hmm.
record button, and my phone froze, or the app
Okay.
froze. So
Mm-hmm.
I nothing was happening on the screen. So I'm like trying to record, and like nothing was happening. And actually, what then later on, so I thought I'd missed a shot and everything. I mean, I did miss it,
Mm-hmm.
but the camera had actually recorded 1 second.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So my initial record press actually started the camera recording, and then
Mm-hmm.
it looked frozen. So I pressed again, and it actually cut the shot. But I didn't know because the app was.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That
So
must
that
have
was a
felt bad.
frustrating thing. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a very frustrating situation because we waited again the whole day to get that one shot, and it was that one
Mm-hmm.
shot that we needed. Uh,
Yeah.
and then it just never came back to that same spot. And
Mm-hmm.
so, I mean, there are situations, especially when you're dealing with camera trapping, you keep dealing with situations when you're not physically present. You have a lot of technical errors. They constantly, so you try not to beat yourself up about it because there's nothing you can do at that point. You just gotta
Mm-hmm.
pick yourself up again, brush it off, and
Yeah.
get back at it and try getting something. And maybe the next shot is going to be something better that you thought that you missed, and it's actually a lot better.
Yeah,
But at this point, it's like for us, like only what's in the can counts. What
yeah. Hmm.
you didn't record didn't happen.
Hmm. No, sure. And so like for me, I'll tell you. So I mean, back then, I mean, when I haven't like visited the zoo, so like when you see animal on like the screen, it's different when you see it like in person, right? So I mean, when you see a tiger or like, especially when you see a lion, and you see a lion on the screen, okay, it's good, it's huge, but you the actual size you see when you're in a zoo or like when you see it in person. So what are those animals which are find like very interesting in like in person, which are like not so cool on the screen or like or maybe like a normal on the screen, but when you like see them in person, they're like amazing thing. So that.
I mean, see, every animal in any form is amazing. If you look at it from if you're looking at it from that perspective, like yes, zoos are not always the best places to see animals.
Yeah, no,
Zoos
totally.
are
Yeah.
not. There are good zoos in
Mm,
the world, well funded, well looked after, because a lot of initial research comes from zoos,
mm-hmm.
behavioral research. I mean, yes, they're not not natural
They're not
behavior.
the
It's
best.
all
Yeah.
captured.
Mm-hmm.
But for a lot of people, like if you say the US, the UK, in that example, it gives the first window of opportunity to see wildlife,
Yeah.
to see what these animals
Mm.
are. And then it kind of develops a little bit of a sense, okay, I want to see them in their
Yeah.
natural habitat. Or you get it, you're able to get in touch with conservation institutions that are connected to the zoo, and then able to then go out on a either volunteer in some of their projects and then get out. But a lot of the zoos, unfortunately, here in India don't have that connection of research
Mm-hmm.
tie-ups. There are some private NGOs that do animal rescue, and you can volunteer with them. So that kind of gives you an in. But if yeah, there's definitely a difference of you seeing an animal on the screen or and then having an animal physically next to you. And I think that also gives a lot of people a very much of a false sense of security, because I've had people come up to me and said, "Oh, I've watched a lot of National Geographic, I've watched a lot of Discovery Channel. I know how to be in the wild." Or the famous one was, "I've watched Bear Grylls, so I know how to be out in the
Yeah.
out." Once you're there, if you have an animal charging at you, can be any animal, you will react differently, and that's
Yeah,
the whole thing,
totally. Freaked
that
out.
you yourself do not know how you will react.
Yeah.
Are you a runner? Do you freeze? Do you actually have a conscious like sense of what to do next?
Mm-hmm.
And that is one of the unfortunate things. If it's some people have that tendency of believing that once they see some of these documentaries, they know exactly how to behave in the forest, which is not the case.
Yeah.
Because some of the shots that you see on in a documentary would have taken 6 months to shoot. Like a 5 minute
Mm-hmm.
sequence would have been maybe a 2 year sequence. So when you go out into the forest and you're like, oh, I want to see a hunt,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you're not going to see it. It's taken the crew 2 months to get that shot.
Yeah.
It's
Mm-hmm.
or like, oh, elephants are very tame, very easygoing animals. The one animal that everybody who's ever gone into the forest, who's like basically constantly goes into the forest, the animal that they're most afraid of are elephants.
I was
People are
about to
finally
come to that because when I was saying this that when you see animal on screen and you see it in person, it's different. And actually, any elephant is one of them. You see elephant as like the most calm and the peaceful thing on the screen. But I've heard it from many people like who go on these jungle safaris and all those things. So they say that when an elephant charges, it's like a whole different scene in there because like a several tons of weight coming at you and you cannot do anything if it gets you, right?
so the thing is with elephants, it's that they're extremely intelligent. You
Yeah.
can very much put it that there's a similar attitude how a human would think.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if like an elephant wants to cross a road, if an elephant wants to, let's say, has its family around, and now it's got two cars going past it, and every time I want to go past, another car comes, and then it wants to go past again, and maybe six cars have come, and now this elephant's gotten irritated because it's like, I've been wanting to cross the road.
Hmm.
So the
Yeah.
next car that comes is like, okay, I've had it.
Hmm.
I've had it up to here with all of this. I'm going to go charge at this. So they're not looking. It's a very similar thing. A person, what might happen to a person
Hmm.
is like five other people, six other people might have caused some irritation, and then out of the blue, like because you've been frustrated
Yeah,
all
they
this
burst
time,
out. Yeah.
and then
Hmm.
the last person that comes through, even though they had nothing to do with it, you
Hmm.
lash out, you burst out, and that happens also with
Hmm.
elephants. So it's not like
Yeah.
it's not that they are unpredictable.
Hmm.
They're very predictable,
Okay.
but you don't know at what point have you come across this elephant, how many irritations has it had,
But
and
are
they're
they
very
like
protective about their family.
predictable to like a normal person who's like going for the first time at the same time? Because you
No,
as
no,
a
you need to know
yeah.
body
Hmm.
language. Like, what does it mean when they're kicking their foot? What does it mean when they are flapping their ears? What does it mean when they're moving like this? There's a lot of body language. Like we had a situation. Well, not a situation. We were with a herd of elephants, and I was with my
Hmm.
colleague. I was filming from the back of a vehicle, and it was a big herd of about 16, 17 of them, and a couple of smaller calves, maybe 1, 2 years old, and there were a couple of teenagers in the mix. And what looked like the matriarch, she was just foraging. She was eating, but she kept on coming closer to the vehicle. But there was absolutely no sign of discomfort, aggression. She was just foraging, she was just eating, but she kept on coming closer. But the way that her body language was, and the way that she kept on eating and looking up, eating and looking up, I told my colleague, I'm like, listen, just get the car started. I mean, there's
Hmm.
something up. So she came to about 20 feet from us,
Hmm.
and absolutely no aggression, no nothing. And she just charged out of the
Oh,
blue.
okay.
But because like we kind of picked up on it, and this is many years of like
Hmm.
seeing elephant
Totally.
behavior, I kind of figured there is something up here. There's
Hmm.
something that she is not happy about, and hence she's moving closer to us. But she's smart enough not to give it away. She
Hmm.
knows that she needs to get really close to us without alerting
Yeah.
us
Hmm.
to chase us away or to basically charge at us.
Hmm. I
So she knew
see.
that. She knew exactly
Hmm.
how to get close to us
Hmm.
without alerting us or making us feel uncomfortable. And then as soon as she knew she was close, but we were already ready. We started the car, we were ready. We were like, okay, we got in gear, we're just ready to like move ahead when she decided to charge.
Hmm.
Uh, but the whole herd was calm. There was no discomfort. There was no flapping of ears, trunk, anything. So
Okay.
that's the whole thing. It takes a while to
Hmm.
be
You've learned
with
those things.
animals. You can't just go one morning and say, I've watched National Geographic, I watched Discovery, I know
Hmm.
exactly what's going to happen, and start doing wildlife documentaries. There are people who've spent, I mean, I'm one of the younger ones. I've been like 10 years. There are people who've gotten 20, 30 years experience in this industry,
Hmm.
and they're still learning and figuring stuff out.
Yeah,
So,
totally. And when you say wildlife, I mean, sea is also involved in wildlife, right?
yes.
So have you had any experience with like sea animals or something like that?
I've not. So, if you're doing underwater documentation, it's a completely different skill set.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, besides from diving, being able to dive, your camera setups are different. I mean,
Yeah.
I've done it as well, but you need to spend a lot of time training yourself to be able to be underwater for that long. It's a very different ball game. So you if it's how to put it, it's a different genre that you need to train yourself for, and you need to spend
No,
maybe
totally. Yeah.
10 years to be a good underwater photographer or a good underwater cinematographer.
Mm-hmm. Has anyone shot a blue whale with like up close in the water?
People like in the
Yeah.
industry,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
And
There are documentations on blue whales. Yeah.
do you have any plan on doing that?
Again, you need to be extremely
Mm-hmm.
experienced to do it.
No, totally. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got friends of mine who are currently doing projects on killer whales, on orcas in Alaska, and
Mm-hmm.
Um, and even though I want to try getting myself onto a project like that, it's again, it's a completely different animal. It's a completely
Mm.
different. It's me going into a completely different world altogether. Even though I know the technical aspects of the camera working and what needs to get done,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah, the
I
physicality
would
is different.
say
Yeah, totally.
it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
it's a big challenge, and there are people who've trained their
Mm-hmm.
entire life, like entire like professional careers to be able to document stuff like that.
Yeah, totally. And but blue is like massive, right? It's like very
Oh yeah,
massive.
they're big
Yeah.
animals.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah.
So, and you were saying that like in India, you have like shot a lot of generic animals, but there's a long way to go. So tell me about that. I mean, animals which are like fascinated by and you want to shoot them and where they are and how are like planning on doing that. So tell me about that.
I mean, one animal that's definitely on the top of the list to get to film is the pangolin. Pangolins are the one of the most trafficked animals in the world,
Mm-hmm.
and even though they're found in India, they're one of the rarest to find.
Okay.
And even though I've been in places where they're supposedly commonly found, it's very difficult to find out where they actually can be found. And
Hmm.
even when you're speaking to locals, show them pictures, they all say they haven't seen it, either trying to protect it, that nobody knows exactly where they're found. So that's definitely one animal that's high up on the list.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, what other? I mean, clouded leopard. I've only filmed them in the zoo, and I haven't filmed in the wild. So maybe at some point, they're really, again, really difficult to film in the wild. I don't think there's a proper shot of a clouded leopard in India in the wild. It's only through camera trapping because
Okay.
they're nocturnal, they're arboreal. Basically, they live up in trees. So when you're in that landscape in the northeast of India, it's really difficult to be able to spot one. I mean, we've done
Mm.
a documentary on it, and the only way we were able to film it was through camera trapping.
Okay. I see. And what's your favorite animal?
I did mention those. Those are fun.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it was good like talking to you. So we're at the end of it. And how do you find it? Like it was like casual, right? So we talked about
Yeah.
animals, we talked about wildlife, and it was good. It was like learning a new aspect, and I try to learn these things like new things. So I'm also like yeah. Also one thing. Is there a zoo which you would recommend people to visit in India, which is like the best?
No, I wouldn't recommend any zoo.
Any zoo? And
Yeah.
is there any like safari or something in India?
I mean, every national park has their safaris. There are a lot
Okay.
of parks. I mean, Kaziranga is a nice place to get to, so you get to see
Mm-hmm.
rhinos, elephants. Very difficult to see any of the cats, but Kaziranga is a nice place. Kabini in South India, a lot of it doesn't get too. I mean, they don't allow too many vehicles into the park,
Mm-hmm.
so that's a really nice place if you want to see some of the bigger cats. Um, I haven't been to like Corbett or
Mm-hmm.
some of the central ones, but I heard those are like Pench, Kana are really good.
Mm-hmm.
Bandhavgarh as well. But I haven't been to those as yet, so
Okay.
I can't really vouch for them. But zoo wise, no, I wouldn't recommend anything.
Okay. But like not just in India, like in the whole world, is there like a good zoo? Or like zoos are not good?
I'm sure. So I mean, the one of the world's famous one is the San Diego Zoo. I have not been there, so I'm not able to vouch for it. But a lot of people who have traveled and moved to the Singapore Zoo, the San Diego Zoo are supposed to be really
Mm-hmm.
good. I'm sure there are a lot of others which are doing some good conservation work within their organization.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but again, it's a
Mm-hmm.
different conversation about that.
Oh, I see. It was like lovely talking to you, man. And I would like to have you sometime again. Maybe sometime I'm in Bangalore. We need to catch up. And
Yeah,
it was great.
please come back to
Yeah.
the office.
Thank you for doing this. Okay.
Great having you.
Bye-bye.
Okay.